for coming. Good afternoon. I am honored today to join the leaders of the Missouri House of Representatives and the Missouri Senate as they present their shared mission for the remainder of this legislative session. Common sense solutions for Missouri's future. In 2010, we will work together to move with great fortitude in facing our state's financial crisis head on. Our leaders will take responsible action in managing our state's budget while looking at new ways to help promote growth in Missouri's small business community, the true economic engine of our state. At the same time, our legislators and our entire team remain committed to the values we all share, to vigorously defend the lives of the unborn, to continue to protect our Second Amendment rights, and as always, to fight for Missouri families by making sure they can keep more of their hard-earned paychecks. That means we will promise together not to raise taxes on Missourians. Taking more money from Missouri families is not a sensible solution to fix whatever budget problems we face today. I am now honored to introduce leaders of the Missouri General Assembly, President Pro Tem of the Missouri Senate, Senator Charlie Shields, Speaker of the House, Representative Ron Richard, Majority Leader of the State Senate, Senator Kevin Engler, and Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Representative Stephen Tilley, and first, Senator Shields.
Thank you, Governor Kinder. First of all, let me give an apology because I have to leave right after this. I have a commitment outside of the Capitol, but I want to just talk about a couple themes that we're talking about in the Senate and with the House, and more importantly, understanding the meaning of having an event like this, that the House and the Senate and the Senate Governor are committed to work together on issues that are important to Missouri. Governor Kinder mentioned no new taxes, and let me tell you this. I remember a few things out of my economics classes back in college, but one of the things I do remember very clearly is you cannot tax yourselves out of good economic times. Clearly, we believe that is not the direction we need to go in the state of Missouri, and the issue of tax increase is a non-starter in the Missouri Senate this year. I want to make people clearly understand that. There are things that we do know work in terms of bringing jobs to the state. We're going to work very closely on economic development tools, but in the long term, we know that one of the best things we can do in this state to attract jobs is have an educated workforce. And we, as legislators, House and Senate, are firmly committed to fully funding the foundation for it and make sure we continue to support education at the K-12 level and also at the higher education level, and make decisions this year that will have a long-term benefit for the future of the state. And those decisions are about maintaining an educated workforce and building an educated workforce, and we're not going to do that if we cut education. So that's not what we're going to do. So I know we have some folks that want to talk about some other issues, and I again apologize for having to dash out. Speaker Richard and I are in great consultation and often consultation on some of the issues we're working on this session, and these are challenging times, but I think we have the right team on the field to deal with it. Speaker Richard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Governor. Again, it's not crystal clear. The House is in absolute agreement with the Senate on no new taxes. Absolute tax increase in the House is a non-starter. Again, we agree completely with the Senate. As most of you are aware, the economic development initiatives have started in the House in recent years. We're working together on priorities within the economic development package that'll help small business recruit, retrain. It's been a very bipartisan committee and will continue to be that. We have an aggressive bill that we're working on. Again, we have a committee that I started when we did quality jobs some years ago when I chaired economic development around the state, Democrats, Republicans, economic developers, business people, senators, representatives that's going to meet tomorrow and Friday and come up with solutions or come up with alternatives and suggestions for the House and Senate on job creation. Again, I want to focus on what the governor said. We are going to get through this budget time. We're going to be very fiscally responsible. Education is important to us in the House. We work with the Senate on those priorities. But keep in mind that our priorities, as Governor Kinder said, the important, the Second Amendment, pro-growth jobs. So we're going to have members of the House specifically working with members of the Senate on legislation. We'll be happy to give you those people in due course. Right now, leadership is working with leadership in the Senate to firmly work on those priorities that we've announced, and that's, is Senator Engler here? Okay, that's, I guess we're ready for questions.
Mr. Speaker, how do you bode this, or match up this no new taxes pledge with this increasingly talk about adopting a fair tax in Missouri, getting rid of the income tax and increasing the sales tax, and then also implementing a sales tax on things that never taxed before, services?
The House did pass the fair tax last year. We'll see if it has the muster. There is some questions about that initiative that we'll just have to see if there's still a certain level. I'm not going to start that this year in the House. We'll see if the Senate has an appetite for that. And then I'll judge accordingly with consultations with Governor Kinder and President Shields. We'll see. But I won't be starting that initiative in the House.
Mr. Speaker, on that same topic, that initiative appears to be getting the fair tax, or whatever you want to call it, a fair amount of discussion in the Senate. Senator Shields had a seminar on it the other day. A variety of lawmakers are saying we need to consider it. Yet, the piece of economic development legislation that Representative Fluke's committee had a hearing on last night, and appears to be sort of a top priority in the House, the Senate, and of the governor, would basically be wiped out if that fair tax were to pass, because it collects income taxes. So how does that conflict get resolved in? Well,
until something is passed on fair tax, I have to work within the system, which is our tax structure and tax incentives and those things that's in the statute now. I have to work with as a certainty. So we'll address that in due course. Is it senators that want to speak on?
Is it fair to say that the economic development bill that Representative Fluke is carrying, that was discussed in hearing last night, is of a higher priority to you than a fair tax bill?
To me personally, without consultation, anyone behind me or Senator or Governor, to me personally, it is.
Does the pledge for no new taxes extend to the push? There are some people who would like to see you make sure that sales taxes on internet sales are taxed at the same rate if that item were purchased locally. Right now, I can go online and buy something without paying taxes, whereas if I went down the block, I'd have to.
There's a fairness issue and some questions about local retailers. Talk about that all the time. Our legal staff is looking at fairness and the constitutionality of that, but it has been mentioned for the last several years in the House.
Has there been a tax increase proposed or being pushed by people that you're in opposition to?
Not from our side yet.
Would this no new taxes pledge also extend to fees? I know there's some agencies, particular DNR, that are essentially running broke in some of their programs and say they need more than just an extension of their fees. They're going to need an increase in it.
My message to the House of Representatives from them after a meeting today to the bureaucracy is do more with less, and I think that's what we're doing. I suggest they do that.
Isn't there some point though where you can't do more with less?
I suggest you take that to the people out there that don't have any jobs, and you know what? That's just tough. That's tough times. We're going to make a tough decision, and my friend Jason Crowell back here will be helping me on the Senate side. I think he's capable of making tough decisions like myself. It's tough times. We'll make it.
So are there going to be regulations that now exist in the state, that you will tell agencies they cannot enforce because they don't have the